Next. I don't know if it's too late to do this or not. I'm just doing the Instagram one real quick. It just takes a second, I think. I have to update the stream key. Paste, save. And then I think I have to turn it on. Where is it? There it is. Save. Is it just not going to do it? There it goes. Oh. I think we're about to be all set here. Okay. I think it's a sending data. Aren't you glad you don't have to do all this stuff, Greg?
I would gladly take it on.
Oh, is that right? Careful what you wish for.
This is the Okayest Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks, because that's just meat in the freezer. It's your tag, you hunt how you want. This is Okayest Hunter.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Okayest Hunter podcast. We are in Oconomowoc. Greg is fucking back, baby. He is back. What's up, big guy?
Well, I'm back for now.
It's not like we kicked you out or you were gone.
No,
It's
man.
You've just been a busy fella.
Busy. Work, travel, try to be home, catch up on things after the travel. But life's good. Can't complain.
Well, I wouldn't fucking listen if you're complaining.
Yeah,
anyway,
nobody
so.
wants to hear a complainer anyway. But it's been good.
Yeah.
Made it out bow hunting a few times. Seen deer every sit. Even if it was just the last sit was probably the worst.
What's the closest encounter you've had so far?
40 yards at a one-horn buck. That's
right.
I sent you guys that video. He was munching away in front of me. Other than that, nothing's been given opportunity to take a crack at.
No.
Not that I want to take a crack at anyway. So
Give it some more time.
It'll
that
get
trigger
there.
finger will get real itchy.
Well, it might get scratched next week. You never know.
Yeah, who knows? Well, there's a cold front coming through. My dad doesn't know this yet. They're scheduled to come over this Saturday. But there's a cold front moving through on Saturday. So, Dad, when you listen to this tomorrow morning on Wednesday morning, just know that I'll probably be following up with a call to just plant the seed and see if maybe you want to switch to Sunday and I can go hunting on Saturday evening because I can't do a morning hunt based on how I'm getting into the property. And then
what you've heard for a forecast is different than what I heard. I heard like we're probably going to be creeping up. We're going to be in the 80s on Friday. And more than likely, it'll probably be windy with it. What do you got?
Well,
let's take a look.
On the 10-day here, you can go to any app here, and you're going to see Tuesday
Friday.
70,
Holy
Wednesday
cow.
60, Thursday 69, Friday 80, and then Saturday 64 with a low of 49. So you see that big drop seems to be Friday to Saturday. So I think if I'm out Saturday, that would be ideal. Plus
Saturday
it's raining on Sunday. And there's a Packer game Sunday. So Dad, maybe you should come here.
That's
one all the apps that I have. That's AccuWeather, WeatherBug, the weather app on the iPhone, which is a good one, actually. So,
okay. Hey, I'll take it.
So I might just, Dad, I'm just saying, see what you can do. I'll call you tomorrow. I'll call you on Wednesday, and we can talk about it.
These are those October cold fronts that come rolling through.
This is it, though. I don't get to hunt. We're leaving for a wedding in Seattle the following weekend. And then
you're not going to be geographically far away from where we're going to be.
That's right. Probably won't be.
Maybe they'll kick you out the plane on the way through.
My wedding anniversary is next week, Tuesday, so I might have to do a pre-recorded episode because I shouldn't probably record an episode on the 15th, my anniversary, which is the day you guys leave for Oregon.
Yeah.
Then we leave that Wednesday for Seattle, come back right that Sunday, so right before Halloween in November. And then there's already some stuff that's cooking for the first... Oh, yeah. I got invited to a Michigan deer camp, a UP deer camp by Holly's mom's family.
That'll be cool.
And their gun opens up 7 days before Wisconsin. So I told Holly, I'm like, hey guys, I appreciate the invite, but I don't know if I'm going to get away with being gone for 2 weekends. But it's also rut. So I'm kind of like, oh, what do? I think I'm going to go. It should be fun. They got a really cool deer camp up there. It's totally different style in the
Yeah.
UP. Like they
Yep.
got really fancy box blinds that are like more comfortable than this room, and with just a huge, open spot to
this is
shoot
where
out
it
of.
starts.
They just shoot right from the couch.
Before I know it, you're going to own 100 acres and you're going to have redneck blinds all over the place.
So yeah,
Buddy heaters in every one.
I feel like my opportunities to hunt are like I have only been out once. I will get out this weekend, maybe, and then maybe 2 to 3 times for the rut. I'll have maybe 5 hunts in my belt this whole season, not including gun.
To go experience a Michigan deer camp on top of it in the UP.
A UP deer camp is probably different than a regular Michigan deer camp.
I mean, it's
they're right
relative.
in Marinette, just north of Menominee.
Yeah, I mean, it's relative.
They're in Menominee, north
and I don't
of
think
Marinette.
you're going to see much difference other than they're going to cheer for a different NFL team than our Wisconsin people would. But
yeah, I don't know. They're
it's
the
pretty.
UP is like,
it's a pretty cool culture up there either way.
Yeah. So I'm enthused about it, and it's gun. So like maybe at that point I'll have whacked a couple of deer with my bow. I'm not sure. And I'm really honing in on one area, so I'm betting all my cards on one particular plot, playing it smooth so far, trying to monitor hunting pressure with one of the cell cams. I did update the batteries for those
new batteries, new card.
Here's the thing: I don't know what happened because one's a pro, one's a non-pro. So one has a touchscreen, one doesn't. The one without the touchscreen is the one that died, but it didn't tell me the batteries were dying. They were 100%, and then the camera just stopped working.
Done.
But the batteries were in fact dead. I put them in some other devices in the house.
Completely done.
Wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So now I got fresh batteries in it. It's all on. Everything's working great, but it's in my garage, not out in the woods. I haven't had a chance to go put it back out yet. So not that I need to. I just think when I go hunt again, I'll bring it with me.
Yeah, drop
and
it.
Leave it behind.
Leave early enough to get in there, drop the camera on your way in or whatever you think you're going to do, and hunt your way past it.
Yep. Kind of. Yeah. So that's the general update there. By the way, I didn't get to this. My bad. But we're brought to you by Nosler, which it sounds like you guys have a really strong potential to tour the Nosler
There's
factory
going
when
to
you're
have
in
to be
Oregon.
a handful of stars to align, and we got to get in touch with Maddie to even see if it's possible. I know she said it would be cool to see us there, but it's going to be tough, I think. If we don't have something down probably by Thursday, it's not going to be very likely.
Siri, text Maddie Woodward. Can we talk about Greg and Derek touring the facility next week when they're in town?
Wow, Mr. Technology over here.
There we go. Text sent. So we'll deal with that as it comes. We just got to deal with things as they come. Otherwise, I won't get them done. I'll forget. So that's we'll find out how we can do that. And yeah, so you and Derek. So for those that don't know, FYI, so Nosler, go to nosler.com, use code OHP. Please save yourself the money on the ammunition because it's really high quality stuff. And with our discount, it's going to put you in a great position.
If there's one thing you should not skimp on, it's ammunition.
Yes. Yeah. Ethics are important. Also, shout out to Latitude and Spartan Forge and Rack Hub. All good pals and friends of ours. I mean, I talk to these guys that represent these companies and work for these companies on usually a weekly basis. These are real people doing real hard work at companies that we believe in here. And they're gracious enough to allow everyone that listens to our silly show to use the code OHP and save some money. That's 20% at Spartan Forge. I think that's 15% at Rack Hub, and I think 10 or 15% at Latitude. And then our guest today is a Muck boot ambassador. So Muck reached out, and this is, for those that don't know, our partners get like a episode or two per year, depending on the contract they have with us. This is Muck's episode. So a lot of Muck boot centric conversation on today's episode is what you can expect. But one thing that I'm excited about for Muck is the Alpha Pursuit ankle boot. This is an entirely new product for them. Like Muck has traditionally had rubber boots.
Yeah.
And they have, this isn't a bad thing. They just don't have ankle support. It's not great. They don't have freaking laces.
It's an inherent design.
Yes.
It's part of the, flaw or quality of the design is it's a flexible knee boot. Mm-hmm. It's meant to keep you dry in deep snow in moderate levels of water. Mm-hmm. The first pair of Muck boots I remember getting, I was doing a lot of duck hunting, and my pheasant hunting that I did consisted of hunting the fringes of the duck hunting areas because my lab would always put pheasants up when we were coming back from duck hunting, and I deer hunted in that stuff because there was always deer in there. So I had a pair of Muck wetlands. I don't know how many miles I put on them, and then they finally started to peel apart, and I crawled over, some buckthorn, and I tore the
Puncture one or
neoprene.
something?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
tore up the neoprene pretty bad, but I continue to wear them. I still have them. I use them for mucking around the yard when everything's kind of wet and nasty
Mhm.
because you jump in them.
They're like
nothing to tie
slip.
'em.
That's
Yeah,
my
they're like
favorite part. They're
slippers.
like slippers, dude.
They are.
That I don't have to like mess around with stuff. So my dad got me into like rubber boots. It was Mickey Mouse World War II, and then Gander boots, and then I started buying Muck boots because like
Yeah.
that was a brand that spoke to me at the Gander Mountain at the time, and
Mhm.
so I've been a fan of Muck for a long time.
And the nice part about the neoprene too is you can walk in them for miles.
Yep.
And the neoprene doesn't chafe the heck out of the backs of your calves.
Right.
Where if it was a rubber boot, it would definitely rub 'em. If you got leg hair, you're not going to have leg hair after a day of walking.
That's funny. Well,
And it might be a little sore back there.
so I mean, it's they've been around for a long time. It's a really widely known brand, one that we're proud to partner with. And I just got my kids Muck boots. So Dane happened to get a pair that looks identical to my first pair ever that I still have for mucking around. So he thinks it's the coolest thing in the world because he's like, these are literally the boots that dad has. He's so jazzed about it.
That's awesome.
My wife's got a pair for mucking around.
Mhm.
They're fairly fashionable actually. So
Yeah.
she's excited about that. So there's Muck boots for when I got their clogs. I wore those all summer long. They're like Crocs, but they're Muck. So there's a lot of applications here. But that being said, let's bring on Jody, our guest. So we'll stop yammering between ourselves and introduce Jody. Thanks for jumping on with us, Jody. You're out of Montana, so appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to shoot the shit with us.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, so I guess I could be a really good host and like learn a lot about people and do their intro for them, but I think that's pretty boring, and I'm not a good host. So I think it'd be cool to hear your point of view on kind of your what you've carved out in the industry for yourself with the media brand and how you're a home builder and kind of how you got in touch with Muck. And I'll let you kind of tell that narrative here. I think it's an interesting one.
You bet. Yeah, thanks for having me on. So my name's Jody Marler. I live here in Livingston, Montana. My wife and I moved out here from outside of Chicago. Don't hold that against me, you guys in Wisconsin. So we moved out like 14 years ago, first for the fishing. Then we just started coming out more and more, and then for the hunting. And I've always hunted, always fished. So and there's a lot of Midwesterners out here, and for us it's just there's nowhere like it. Absolutely nowhere like it. I always say this place it just feels bigger than we are, and big country and grizzly bears, and it'll kill you. And there's something about that, to live in this country with that. So I am a home builder, as you mentioned. We build beautiful homes here. It's all I've done since I was 16, and really passionate about it. Just as passionate I am about hunting and fishing. And a few years back, probably 5-6 years ago, I started a media company, to shoot our houses. And actually I have a cousin in outside of La Crosse, and she mentioned, she's like, you build beautiful homes, start a YouTube channel. And I'm like, man, I freaking hate YouTube. But she planted the seed, and it just kind of grew on that drive from Viroqua to Chicago, and then up to my camp in the UP, and then back home to Montana. I just thought, where we live is beautiful. The homes we build are beautiful. So we started doing that. And then, we'd float the river, the Yellowstone here after work, and we'd film a little bit of that. And what we noticed is we were getting more engagement on the hunting and fishing side. So then we kind of separated channels, and it's grown. I mean, we're shooting for several different brands, and but Muck is the very first company to reach out to us, totally organic, not a DM, not it was just like, hey, we like what you're doing. You know, you don't have 1 million followers. You're not some, you know, gaudy influencer. You shoot great stuff, and we want to be a part of that. So it's been a great relationship for, like I said, the last 5 years or so. And we continue to shoot for them. You know, as I mentioned to you guys before going live, last year we shot 3 or 4 films, duck hunting, deer hunting, and an elk hunting. We also did a spring turkey hunt, really quick. You know, all out here in Montana, except the duck hunting. That was in the coast of Washington, which was awesome. Hasn't been released yet. So this year,
Craig's doing a knot over here, so you're
have you
tickling us.
been to the
No.
Washington coast? Oh,
Not to duck hunt, but we're going to be south of there, off the coast, and that's all I'm going to say. Next.
Got it. Stay tuned, I guess. Yeah. So, and this year, I will say, like in 2005, I bought a lifetime hunting license for Illinois, you know, with the idea that I knew we were going to move at some point, and never thought about using it in the 14 years that we've been living here. But last year, talking to a buddy around, you know, the rut, Illinois rut, Midwest rut, and I just started kind of thinking about some of that country I used to hunt. And so this past winter, I put in, after talking to a couple of buddies, for my archery and gun tag for Illinois, and I drew both of them. So this November deer rut, I'm going back, and that's what we're calling the film. So really looking forward to putting this together, and, you know, just devoting that entire week, 10 days to archery hunt, and then go into the 3-day gun season. So should be spectacular. And having Muck in this particular part of Illinois where we're hunting, I mean, it's just flooded timber. It is Muck country in every meaning of the word. So
we're just making up all sorts of terminology, mucking around, Muck country.
Exactly. Right. I mean, it's a great name. The boots are phenomenal. That's what they're built for. So, so going to bring the jet boat for that. Going to just have a blast. I'm so looking forward to it. And the idea is, like, you know, the hunting here in Montana, and, you know, I mean, I'm in Wisconsin and up Peninsula before moving out here, but, you know, hunting elk, which is my absolute passion, archery hunting for elk, I just can't get enough of it. Here, and, you know, to put to work back in Illinois is, I'm just really excited about it. So come mid-November, yeah, that's going to be my focus. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Those Illinois bucks are a little bit different breed than our bucks are up here. They respond to grunts a lot better than they do in Wisconsin. Rattling antlers, I know Derek speaks very highly. He's like, yeah, you bring rattling antlers. Like, I don't dare bring them to the Northwoods of Wisconsin because it probably sounds like some guy working the action on his pump shotgun. You know? So the deer run scared.
Right.
It's very, very. They come to us rattling antlers. So yeah, it's different, different breed of whitetail down there, and they're big.
Well, thinking about like the concept of going back, how many years did you say it was? 14?
Yeah, going on 14 years. Yeah, since we.
So what do you most look? I mean, that's a big gear shift. You know, hunting elk country in Montana and muleys and so forth. And obviously, you do the muskie stuff. I was looking at your YouTube channel, and you make that trek up to, you know, the UP or northern Wisconsin. But what are you like most looking forward to returning back to the Midwest? Are there any traditions that you're going to harken back to? Any local stops, restaurants, any like traditional things that you think you're going to encounter or do, or that you're looking forward to?
That's a great question because, you think about home. This is definitely our home. I mean, we moved from the city of Chicago, and I would, even a duck hunt on the Illinois up at number 2.5 to meet in the Illinois. And, but come whitetail season, same week, go hunt, and then I would go further south than I'm going this time. It is like duck burr country, and a buddy of mine has killed several really good whitetails in this part of the country. And what's nice about this is it is a state. I mean, it's like, I don't know, over 5,000 acres, and which is pretty big for a heavily populated state like Illinois. And that is what drew us to Montana, is that open wild country. And like, I mentioned grizzlies, I mean, it can kill you. You have to be prepared. You're on your own. So it's interesting. This country, I haven't hunted this part of Illinois in, man, it's got to be years that I went there with a buddy who had a duck club there. Hunted there, duck hunted, and quail hunted there years back. And so I haven't been there in about 20 years. So it's going to be great because I'm going to meet up with that buddy of mine and a couple of other buddies. So, it'll be a little nostalgic because it's been that long, and there's something about it. I go down south and you pick up that kind of Southern twang. My wife laughs about it, like, who the heck are you? But you just can't help it when you're around it.
It doesn't take long for those accents to kick in.
Exactly.
Weird how fast we adapt. Even I went to Nicaragua many years ago, and I was starting to use terminology that I wouldn't ever use. It's kind of funny. Or if you go, to the southern, like we got pals down in Arkansas, they will quote themselves saying they're more southern than cornbread, but a couple of years and a long conversation with him, and I'm starting to talk just like him.
Yeah. And there's something about it, right? We're all American, and it's a good part of the country.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just assume you get a deer there. Let's just be super positive and optimistic. When you get one, what are you gonna process it yourself there, butcher it up on your own? Are you hauling that meat back? Are you driving, flying? How are you
I
going
am driving. We're kind of unsure at this point whether a wall tent or my buddy may have a buddy down there that we may be able to stay at his place. But when I would go down to Southern Illinois, spend all day in the tree, and I'm sure you guys have done that, and it can be brutal day after day, and you're waiting for a deer to come 30 yards and during archery season. And when I left Illinois, I was like, man, if I never sit in a tree stand again, I'll be a happy man. Where elk hunting is totally different. You make it happen. You go after them, and you're covering country. They're not whitetail. They're not, doing the same every day, living within a mile. I mean, they travel miles. And I love that. But going to this kind of some of the wildest country in Illinois, to go down there, and with that mentality that it is thick timber, and it's kind of like the area kind of, and all ass really tight, your shots really close. And so that's what I'm looking forward to. I am definitely bringing a couple of tree stands. I mean, I'm not an idiot, so you got to hang some stands because you just don't know. I mean, take a break in the middle of the day, go sit. So
yeah, what do you? So you're bringing stuff with you. I was going to ask my next question: how much gear are you bringing? Because you probably haven't been hunting that way for 14 years. There's not a big need to climb a tree in Montana to hunt an elk because you are covering ground. So you bring in like 14-year-old stuff, or do you got? What's your setup going to be?
Yeah, so may end up, I've got a Sprinter van that, you know, is decked out with a bed in it, little kitchen, and it's pretty tough to beat for, you know, traveling, hunting and fishing. So may bring that. Otherwise, we may bring wall tent. Depends on how many buddies are going to be there and just kind of what the bottom line is. But yeah, I'll end up, you cannot, what's the deal? I need to kind of solidify this, you know, since CWD is everywhere. It's even been found in Montana now. We cannot, I don't think we could bring the skull into Montana. I need to look into that. But yeah, we plan on breaking it down.
Yeah, because you can't even, Greg,
Well,
when you
usually-
guys went, you couldn't even bring shed antlers off the property.
Right.
Oh.
Well, that's off of public. You can't
Sure.
you can't take
Okay.
them off of public. Private, where Derek goes, he picks up antlers off of private. That's perfectly legal. But public land, Illinois state land, you cannot legally take antler off.
Shed hunt. No kidding.
Yep.
Oh,
You gotta-
interesting.
Isn't that
You gotta
wild?
watch it. But for CWD prevention, what they want to see you do, if you're going to transport skulls across state lines, they got to be cleaned.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to
Boil.
boil. If you got stuff to boil it, it's pretty quick. It doesn't take
Exactly.
long to boil one, clean it up, get rid of the brain matter, get rid of all the soft tissue, and then you take it home, a skull with the antlers, and actually it's pretty cool to be able to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
More and more I see Euro mounts, the more and more I like them, and they're cheaper than shoulder mounts. So, and they take up less space.
Absolutely. And to me, it's pretty classic, you know?
Yeah.
So they look good in any house. They're not necessarily in your face, and you know, people everybody can appreciate them.
Yep.
Yeah.
You bet. Yeah. So that's really what what it boils down to is what is the state?
Oh, was that a pun?
What does? Yeah, there you go. A pun without being a pun, not being intended as one, and I made a rhyme. But
Good job.
it's
Touche.
you got to watch your state laws. You know,
Exactly.
Well, it's funny because like
you could get away with it and get all the way there, and then you know
you just don't want to
someone
mess
says
with it,
something,
man. Like that's one
no.
of the things. And also CWD is a pretty real concern, and it, like yeah,
For
try not to
sure.
hurt it. And where we hunt gun at least, which we were talking about, you know, deer camps a little bit at the beginning of the show. We're not far from Iowa, and oddly enough, we just do verbos. We hunt public lands, so all the best verbos are on the damn Iowa side. But the complexity of transporting a carcass from Wisconsin, Iowa, even though it's like a 10-minute, you know, drive or
Yeah.
20-minute drive, it's just not worth the rigmarole and headache. So we end up staying on the Wisconsin side in less desirable verbos. And it's just like, yeah, it's such a complicated, complex thing that it makes even that type of thing not worth it.
Yep.
Right. And going through several states to get back to Montana, you know, all that needs to happen is get pulled over and you know, towing a boat. And so yeah, I will definitely have that down and probably
it's a
plan on boiling it.
or something else that's like, oh shit. And I mean, I'm not saying that's why you should do good things, is because in case you get caught, but that's certainly a motivator. You know, have just good ethics in general. But
Right.
yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, so the Illinois trip is slotted for November. Sounds pretty exciting. The area you're hunting sounds really picturesque and cool. I'm sure the film will turn out like you got good talent. We've watched some of your clips on the TV in here while we're getting ready, and
Yeah,
very
thank you.
cinematic, really well done. Obviously, someone's got a really great drone and some nice camera stuff, and they put it together well too. I imagine you're not doing the production yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely involved with the story. I mean, the thing is, when we started out, you know, we were doing more content and capturing everything. But, you know, we all have a lot going on in our lives, and I've got clients, and, you know, my focus are my employees and my clients, and, you know, hunting and fishing is after that. And I definitely make time for it, but it's all about the story. I don't want to just keep doing the same thing over and over. It is about that story. And that's why the idea of going back to Illinois, I want to capture it. Even if Muck wasn't part of it, this is something personal, you know? I think the older we get, we lose family and friends, and you know, you wish you had those little moments to look back on, and to capture it on film. How cool.
Yeah, I mean, Greg's getting pretty old, so I mean,
Same.
having all this content captured between the two of us, it's like a real bromance over here.
Oh,
There's definitely some
real
sort of odd
bromance with
marriage.
a comment like that.
Yeah.
Fucking old, man.
It'll be fun to look back on someday. I mean, we've already been at it for
Lucky
a while.
for you, I'm still not in the
Right.
field. If I were in the field, I'd be even older yet.
Oh yeah, you'd age a lot quicker for sure. I don't know. Now you just get this hunch over because you're in a desk all the time.
No, I'm not in a desk all the time. I'm on an
Airplane. Yes.
flying around.
Either way,
educating the masses.
Either way, you're getting swamp ass. Yeah.
Nothing a Muck boot couldn't handle.
Yeah.
How many, Greg? The number of videos and photos I have of Greg just dumping muck out of his Muck boot because he's all about filling boots.
Hey man, you got to get to them.
How do you like boot cleaners? So we talked a little bit in the beginning too about the new Alpha Pursuit, which it's a pretty neat boot, and not like I'm generally overly excited about boots, but like for Muck, this is a big deal because it's an ankle boot. They've never had one like this. There's a brand new product for them, and it's got this thing on it, or it's got this. It's called Muck Skin, and I was trying to describe this to Derek and Greg after we had seen this boot, because we got to see it firsthand when we were at SHOT, because it wasn't released yet, so it just came out, and you felt it, Greg. How would you describe Muck Skin?
Oh, it's definitely skin-like, with a little more grip to it.
It's soft. It's smooth. It's almost like a snake.
Yeah,
it's got like a matte finish on it, which I really like.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how it fares against cables on a lone wolf tree stand.
Yeah. Well,
if it makes a squeak, then it's probably,
then you got to stop using your lone wolf tree stand.
Well, yeah, I should be using my saddle and platform, but I got to rewrap those cables, those platform cables with some different tape because all the tape fell off. Hockey tape didn't hold up for some reason.
But I'm trying to show it on the camera here, and you can kind of see. You can see if you look closely here, where that you can see that shimmer here. That this
lack of shimmer.
Skin. Yeah, it's an interesting material, but the fact that it's an ankle boot is also cool because traditionally you go back to their homepage, and it's all
knee boots and
So really interesting. And the price point. Here's the other thing about Muck that I really kind of enjoy, which is one of the reasons we thought it'd be a really great partnership, is that when you think about the okayest hunter in our audience, these are affordable. They're not $800. They're not $500. And I'm not saying anything wrong with a boot like that, because you buy that once and it probably will last you 3-4 years. But there's so many different applications. And if you're hunting a lot, covering a lot of ground, like someone like Greg, who's out in the stuff like every weekend, or Derek, he's in the woods like a couple days a week, scouting, shed hunting, all the stuff. You will wear any boot down, but you can turn and burn. You can buy 4 pairs of Muck for the price of some expensive boots. Like, Loa boots are really expensive, though probably very nice.
Different application.
Yeah, sure. Like the Western hunt stuff is different, but Muck, sister brand under the same umbrella as Rocky. We don't have anything formally with Rocky. It's a very different product. Muck makes sense for the Midwest whitetail hunter by and large, I think.
Yeah.
Plus, they're just
the Mucks are such a versatile boot. I mean, that's why it's great to be a part of them. And pitching these ideas of shooting these films, just it makes sense, and it's authentic. That's the other thing that we do. Everything we do is authentic. Otherwise, I am not putting my name on it. And Muck, everything they do, what we do together, is authentic, and they appreciate it, and I appreciate that.
Well, when you're a custom home builder, I don't think you're relying and depending upon your media company to make ends meet. Like, authenticity is very important.
For sure.
Like, we're on the opposite side of that coin here. I have a day job. I don't need the money from this to work. It is its own business, and all that money gets reinvested, but we're investing it in experiences for like Greg and Derek to go hunting. and we're paying literally everybody else except for ourselves. Like, contractors, cameramen, designers, all this stuff. But that same thing. Well, we can be very choosy and picky about who we partner with, and we are, because I don't need the paycheck. It's not
absolutely.
I don't have to get desperate about like, if I don't get this paycheck, I can't pay my mortgage. Like, I don't have to worry about that.
It's a great position. I mean, it really is. It keeps everything real and authentic.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's a reputation as currency thing. So what we decide to put our names next to as a brand is a direct representation of us as human beings.
Exactly.
Talking people like Greg will be the first to tell you if he doesn't like a product, it's coming out. He's going to tell you right out of his damn mouth. And
the product has to work, and I have a comfortability with this brand because when I was in the field doing HVAC, plumbing stuff, if it was a muddy job site, I'd have my Muck boots with me, jump in them, make it across the job site, kick them off, keep my clean, service work shoes, boots, whatever with me, and get in and do the wrap up on a house.
You're doing new construction sites where there's no driveway or concrete.
No driveway, no yard, no nothing.
The basement's still a concrete. There's no concrete poured. It's just a giant puddle down there.
Yep.
Like, you staying dry in the woods and on a job. And as a custom home builder, sure, I'm sure you guys have a lot of muck running around the job site.
Oh, for sure. And like pretty much every one of my guys, all of our subcontractors, everybody's wearing mucks. It's just, again, they're versatile. You go inside, they're easy to kick off, put your inside shoes on, and they're just great product. Yeah, great to be a part of the family.
The one thing I will say though, when you need to buy a pair with enough time to get the rubber scent dissipated, like you're not buying a pair of muck boots today and hunting with them tomorrow.
Exactly.
You could. I don't recommend it. They smell like rubber.
It is so interesting that you say that, because I remember like decades ago, guys would go out and they're like, oh, these are the best boots. They don't smell. I'm like, they smell like rubber.
Yeah, they smell like the inside of a tire store.
They won't after a while, but you need to deal with it. You guys have tips, Greg or Jody, about how to like descent a new pair of boots, sort of put it through the paces? Like, what would you do to it?
Honestly, I put mine on and just wear them. Like, I wear them. I'm going to put them. I'm going to cross the creek with them a few times. If I'm going scouting, scent doesn't matter at that point because I'm usually going early enough in the year.
Yeah.
But when I'm done with them, I like to use my boot dryer, because that'll actually help dry the inside out real good. And you want to dry that inside out. Otherwise, you leave foot funk odor in there inside of them things. And if they got removable insoles, pull them out. Because that holds moisture. So pull them all out. My boot dryer has an ozone generator in it.
Oh, nice.
That's
so all the odor. Like those, I think they actually kill odor.
And it kind of helps. It helps with that. You got to be careful with too much ozone because it will break down. It'll break down certain grades of rubber and spandex and things like that. But for the most part, just wearing them, get some break-in time on them, because let's be honest, I've gone into stores and tried boots on. One fits good, one doesn't. That's not going to feel great right away. Well, if you have to walk out of the store with those,
the best thing a new pair of boots can do, regardless of any brand, is create blisters.
Yes,
you got to break.
So wear them around.
Having the right thickness of sock will matter too. These are all things you should try out. Like, you're not going to wear a thin sock with these things. You want probably a midweight or a heavyweight sock,
depending on the time of the year.
Yeah, I suppose so.
When it's going to be 80 degrees and I'm going to wear a pair of mucks out because I know I got to cross a few drainage ditches, I'm wearing thin merino or a pair of alpaca socks that breathe real nice but don't retain a lot of stink. And if they're knee boots to prevent chafe on the back of the leg, wear knee-high socks. It helps a ton. Yeah, that's all I've got.
No, it's stuff that I think most season hunters think about, but our audience ranges from beginner to new to considering to season and so forth. I mean,
that's a good point. And I mean, there's a lot of people out there that they dream about it all year long, and they may only have a week or 3 days to put into it. I mean, seriously, I mean, we've all been there. So it's good to hear that info and just like, hey, if you have a chance, man, wear these things, get that smell out of them, put them outside. I always, like, weeks before the season, I will hang them in trees at our house, just so they kind of, lose that domestic smell. So it really is a good idea to do. It's a big deal. You'll never beat their nose, but you sure can try. Do everything you can.
Yeah, you don't want to like be spraying cologne on them either, kind of thing.
Oh, it drives me crazy.
You got to gas them out just like you got to gas out a new house, right?
Right.
You finish carpenters in there, and everybody's putting lacquers on wood and finishing that out. You got to let it air out. That smell will go away eventually.
Right.
Boots and clothing, if you can put them outside without them getting damaged or rodents getting into them, great.
What I want to see, Jody, on your film is like a really nice shot as you're driving down the highway on some like old country back road of all the blaze orange just hanging out to get aired out before the gun opener season. There's something about that, and at least in Wisconsin, like the 2 weeks leading up to gun opener, you just see blaze orange hanging out everywhere. Oh yeah, here we go.
The pumpkins, yeah, for sure.
I gotta love it.
Patch is on its way.
Yeah, we'll get a shot of that. It'll be interesting to be back in Illinois and just see, what that country's like come November. So yeah, we will capture it though. I mean, I've got a whole shot list in mind, but what's great about hunting, you never know. It changes all the time. You have a plan and you just never know.
When you go for the shotgun side of it, are you going to take a shotgun or are you going to use a muzzle loader?
So Illinois, actually this year, you can use a single shot rifle.
Straight wall cartridge?
Yeah, like a Ruger number 1 or something like that, single shot.
Yeah.
So I won't do that because I don't have one and I don't see the need. I mean, I would rather, and the country I'm going to be hunting in is bottomland and it's thick and I don't need that 100-yard shot. So, I'm good with my shotgun that I haven't used in 14, 15 years.
Like that slug with that power to just knock them down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Rifle barrel or smooth bore?
It's rifled with a scope.
You're gonna shoot Savage slugs then?
I am. So it's 1187 that I bought. Oh my God, man, 1994.
Okay.
In that same, on one of the first duck hunts that I went down there a long time ago. And yeah, I'll be using that shotgun.
Well, and I've got the poor man's version, the 870, about the same era.
Yeah.
And mine's got a rifled barrel, and I've knocked down lots of deer with it. And
oh yeah,
works very well. But I think the best ammunition was I went away from the old hourglass BRI slugs that Winchester and Federal were using back in the day because that was the thing.
Exactly.
Those slugs would actually start to tumble.
Yeah.
And the first doe that I shot, I didn't realize I hit it all 3 times I shot at it. And the first shot I took at it was at 84 yards at a dead run. And I shot it and it never even flinched. It just kept on trucking. And I shot at it again and hit it again. And it still kept going. And then it got into the woods and paralleled and came right past me at 10 feet. And I shot at it again. And it ended up dying behind me, as it disappeared around the trees. Well, when I skinned it out, the first 2 holes that I shot at it were right around the heart and the lungs, and they were hourglass shaped. The slug actually tumbled rather than flying straight. It started to tumble. And so what I did was I set up plywood targets. I had the farm where I lived. I had room to roam and go shoot. So I set up targets, and at about 73 yards, I don't know why I remember this, but 73 yards, that slug would start to tumble. And that's when it would kind of put an egg-shaped hole through the target. Wow. And at 80 yards, it was definitely tumbling where it would rip through the plywood and make that hourglass shape.
Wow.
So then I switched to using it was either a Winchester or it was a Hornady slug with an actual bullet in it, and those
Mm.
had much better results. And Remington also had better results with their slugs. So yeah, if you haven't shot in a while and you got some old ammo, maybe put some targets up and go do some
Yeah.
shooting. Make your shoulder nice and sore first before you.
Oh, that's it. Talk about anticipating the recoil of a
Yeah.
stun gun.
Yeah, get your flinch out. The plus side is though you got a semi-automatic, so that'll soak up a little bit.
For
Better
sure.
than old pump 870 did.
Exactly. Still. Yeah.
I went clay shooting a couple weeks ago for work.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Oh, dude, hundreds of shots.
Yeah.
100. It was a ton. It was a ton.
What did you bring? Did you
I
bring your
stopped early.
shotgun, or
No,
did
I don't
you?
have a shotgun.
Okay.
I just
Did you?
rented one from
What did you rent?
Milford, whatever they
Milford.
make you rent. You have to buy their ammo with their gun.
Yeah. Was it a over and under? Double barrel?
Yes.
I think they rent quite a few either Brownings or Berettas.
It seemed like a nice gun, but
Berettas are beautiful.
after a whole day of that, dude, I was like, look, I'm not shooting anymore. It was getting pretty.
Come on,
painful.
Eric. They were just skeet loads.
Yeah.
Crying like a little
One of
bitch
the other guys
over
had a
here.
huge bruise. I
A
think
lot of that is posture,
it
right?
was.
He like
he
you're
knew when
holding it wrong.
happened.
Yeah, like he probably stood like homo erectus, right, straight up, and just put the gun right to his shoulder and went like
Let me
this,
tell
and
you, man,
probably
I'm
felt every inch of it.
terrible
Yeah.
shot. I'm no good at.
You got to bring it
clays.
across your body. That's
I just suck at it. But I'm
better.
For being an OKS hunter, I will tell you, you're not going to see. If you watch the last episode of the OKS Hunter show, I think I whiffed on a tree that I didn't see. Talk about a branch in your way. But I'm
collateral damage.
I'm typically a really good shot with a rifle, but I cannot. It's a fundamentally different concept to shoot moving
target.
bird target. It's a different part of my brain. It's very instinctual. The other stuff is very technical.
Shotgunning will really get you dialed on moving targets, whether they're
clearly. But
they're running.
It takes me about half a course to
flying.
get it tuned in to what I need to do. But the first year I ever got was with the slug pump action shotgun that my dad still has at his house. So it's a very large shotgun, and I remember shooting it when I was a young lad, and I was like, oh, my shoulder. It felt like someone just straight up just boom right in the shoulder. I was like, wow, what the hell?
Jody, what was your first experience with a firearm? Was it a shotgun, a rifle? What caliber, what gauge?
It's probably 22. You know, one of my earliest memories is my dad. Every year, my dad would take me or one of my brothers up with him and his buddies back in the 70s up to the UP bow hunting. So we were up in the UP. I still have that rifle. My dad still have that rifle. It was we've always had them around. My dad was never anything like bow.
The UP in the 70s, man, what an era.
Oh, it
like
it's like this up there.
Yeah.
No offense. That's why I have a up there.
I remember. I mean, this is 20 years ago, or something like that. I remember my dad took me. We used to go to the Nicolay National Forest. So the listeners of the podcast have heard this a thousand times, but they may not have heard this one. We stayed somewhere on some motel up there in Phelps, Wisconsin.
Oh yeah.
And I remember the motel. You open the door, and on the door it said, on the inside of the door it said, "Welcome to Phelps. You can now turn your clocks back 20 years because nothing has changed." And
that's awesome.
Pretty clear picture of it somewhere. That I got because I thought it was just hysterical. But they weren't kidding, and nothing had changed. And I think the pendulum swings, fashion comes back in, and beer cans go back to old styles, and we're at this point now where there's almost like this thirst to go back to that old deer camp. media and
It is.
stuff like that and all that.
It is interesting that you bring that up. I mean, look at all the retro camo that, like Orvis and Duck Camp and all these other companies are bringing back. And I mean, it's nostalgic. That old duck camo that I used to have, or that old tree bark suit that I used to have.
Yeah, those are hard to take. The onesies, those are, you got to take the whole thing off to let the old thumb hang out.
Yeah.
But it's funny that they've come back and are popular and been proven to be effective. That we're literally producing a camo pattern that was state of the art 20 plus years ago. And
Yeah.
people are buying it like it's going out of style. You can't tell me that we surpassed camouflage's ability to camouflage a hunter a long time ago. Now it's just over engineered as shit, and it's more for the hunter than the animal, I think. And
For sure.
that's bad. It's just interesting.
Out where I so unless it's
a rock on a hill, it's totally different.
If a deer disappear anywhere
brown
as a solid, and granted, just the way its fur absorbs and reflects light, it can disappear anywhere it wants.
Yeah.
And it's a solid color, minus the belly being white and a little bit of black around its face. If it's,
Never
a
see that
certain
belly
age.
unless they die.
Yeah. Well, but you see the chin patch, and if you're, you're still enough, you can pick out an ear flicker or a shine of an eye or something.
I had a doe freaking within 20 yards of me, 5 to 10 yards of me, and I couldn't see that bitch.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're right there. I can hear you blowing at me. Where are you? She kept bowing around. So yeah,
there's enough cover between her and you.
The camo thing is being still. Fred Bear, the best camo is just sitting still. So I love wearing a good flannel out in the woods.
That's it.
It's my favorite thing. Call it my kill flannel. I've got more questions about my flannel that I've worn, that Fleet Farm, Field and Forest, whatever the hell their brand is called.
We need to lock that down.
Where'd you get that flannel? What's that flannel? I'm like, yeah, well, it's not around. I've tried to find it. It's gone. It's not
gone.
available anymore.
It's a retro flannel.
10 of them.
So you might as well just
retro
hang on to
from
it.
like 3 years ago.
If it gets ripped, you have somebody sew it.
Super retro.
Yeah.
I just bought the thing like a couple years ago. I guess it's probably 4 or 5 years, but either way, that's not like shit. They just stopped making it,
Now solids work, and I think they always have, but having a little plaid just to break up your outline helps. And
Yep.
My mom would.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say my mom would make us, jackets, cheap, easy jackets out of. She'd have yards of that old style duck camo.
Mm-hmm.
It was tan with green and brown, maybe a black, and I don't know, but
blotches, yeah,
it was blotches. And you look at some of the stuff now, it's like it's a slightly refined version of it.
Oh yeah,
that's all it is.
Dude, the Whitetail Adrenaline guys spray paint their shit.
Yeah, they take a pair of Levi khakis and spray paint black and brown on them. Yeah. I mean, it's genius. It works. They're hunting in grass on the ground.
Yep.
Right.
We don't need much.
Right.
Here we are.
Derek's a bigger believer in camo, to the tune of like he'll wear snow camo when he's going to be skylined in a tree when there's no cover in winter.
It works for
I think
him.
that's smart.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say that, in a tree, completely different.
Yeah.
I think you need something to blend or, kind of go away. Yeah.
If you got leaves around you, the duck camo works.
Yep.
The Sitkas, the First Lights, the whatever,
Kuyu, blah blah blah,
Kuyu, whatever. It's all relevant in its certain environments.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, so you got camo for the Midwest. That you can be nice and warm in. I'm sure you got some good stuff. You're in Montana. You're not far from Sitka and First Light. They share a parking lot, for crying out loud.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely a Sitka guy. What they have done for the industry, we all grew up wearing the baggy stuff. It doesn't fit all that well. And Sitka came along, and especially day after day, you need that, what they call athletic fit. So great stuff. It's proven. And and I'll use my original out there up in a tree. It's kind of that grayish, whitish. It should be perfect. That open country, open range. think it is up to fade.
Opposite.
Yeah,
There's
great
yeah. I got to
Yeah.
meet John Barklow at Sitka's headquarters, and I don't know if anyone knows who John Barklow is. Google
yeah.
him or
Big
YouTube him.
deal.
He's the one that was hired by the DoD when we were invading Afghanistan and taught the military how to do cold water or like cold weather warming drills. So when you are about to go into hypothermia, he coined or invented the whole freaking concept of how to prevent that from happening and how to warm yourself back up. And he did it by layering your base layer, your mid layer, and your outer shell. And you put all of it on, and you just get yourself to shiver and sweat, and it pulls all the moisture away from the body out to the end, and you warm yourself back up. So he trained the U.S. military on how to go through these in the mountains of Afghanistan.
They're getting to you there, bud.
Yeah, apparently when they come out with new products, he hikes up into the mountains in Montana, dunks himself in a freaking river, climbs up the mountain, and tests the gear. And if it fails, I'm like, well, then what happens, John? Like, are you just gonna die? Like, what are we talking about here, man? The guy is incredibly smart, incredibly crazy, and really interesting. So it's just kind of interesting. Sitka can get a bad rap about being super pricey. They're owned by Gore. It's the state of the art stuff. It's the best of the best. That being said, it is definitely over-engineered for the Midwest whitetail hunter.
Yeah.
We're not dunking ourselves in rivers. We're not on high altitude. Maybe not on purpose.
Well,
but
we are okay at it.
But you're gonna be warm and
here.
comfortable, and you're gonna look like a cool kid on the block. But it's certainly not necessary. It's like the Rip Torn from Dodgeball. Necessary? Is it necessary for me to drink my own urine? No. But I like to look at the gear.
But I will say it's one of those things, just like a Yeti cooler, that is like, you could have millions of excuses to try a different cooler or whatever, but you will always look at that Yeti like,
oh, I had that.
Yeah, that's the OG, man. They didn't skimp on anything. They didn't cut corners on the latches. They didn't, everything works 5-10 years later.
I think the guides that are using that like we're really putting Yeti to the use in the backcountry and on charter boats.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool to a degree.
Yeah.
Well, that's day-to-day use. That's every day.
Those people are putting it to work every day.
Charter boat captains are making a living by going out, putting people on fish, and stuffing those coolers full of fish and ice,
keeping the flies off.
Yeah, keeping the flies off, keeping everything fresh. So when they vacuum bag all that nice salmon from the Great Lakes or whatever they're doing, it's all going to be in good shape.
I got a cousin that travels with her a Yeti cooler.
That's got to be expensive.
Well, she basically it's like a refrigerator for her. She'll drive up from Key West to Wisconsin, camp along the way, no hotels.
She's not flying.
She's just traveling with this Yeti cooler out of the back of her car, holding all of her meat, all of her food, and she'll swap out the ice, but essentially it's a refrigerator, and it holds up the whole trip. And
it weighs as much as a refrigerator, for sure. I mean,
it's just kind of cool, man. Like we are living
extra strength in her shock absorbers there.
Yeah, super. we are living in the future. Like we're here.
Right.
You wouldn't believe what I did at work the other day, Greg. I'm gonna have to show you some.
Lord.
It's a bit unnerving.
All right, we got.
It's the most advanced thing that has come out since AI.
Are we gonna have to start like an after hours segment?
I'm trying to think about what to do with this technology.
OnlyFans?
No.
An OnlyFans kind of thing,
guys. I'm not even gonna talk about it because I might try to use it in some unique way on our stuff. And I think it'll piss people off because there's a lot of people that are uncomfortable with AI right now. So it's
a photographer.
Absolutely.
We got one guy, every time we have outside sales meetings, he hits the AI button. I'm like, what did you do that for? Well, I just want to see how it transcribes it. I'm like, dude, it'll screw it up worse than a wet dream. I mean, it's bad. Just don't do it because it gets everything off kilter. Everything is wrong.
You just wait.
It's bad.
Wait till you see what I'm going to show when we end the recording. It is it's jaw-droppingly creepy. We are here. We are so Moore's law is alive and well, and we are on the exponential curve right fucking now. It is wild, let me tell you. Anywho, that's a whole different topic, one that's very interesting, and I'm excited to explore it because if it ain't me, it's going to be someone. So like, I might as well just dip my hand in there and see what happens. But, Jody, thanks for being on the show, and best of luck out in Illinois. Before we kind of totally pack up here and take the tree stand down and head out of the forest of the Okayest Hunter podcast, you got an Okayest Hunter moment you'd be willing to share with us here?
Well, this is, but it was like a week, 10 days ago. I was up elk hunting, and I mean, like last half hour, last 45 minutes of light, I hear this bull scream. So I bomb up there. I get position, everything is perfect. I cow call, and immediately I can hear that bull. He turned in my direction and he ripped a bugle, and I just thought, game on, he's coming. So I just shut up the whole time, and he made his way. And I mean, I can see his silhouette as he's coming through the aspen. And I mean, you start looking for windows, like, is this going to happen? But you're also looking at watch and like how much time is left. And I mean, I there really for 20 yards from this bull screaming. The cow was there, and he's like looking right through me, and I had an arrow knock. I am ready to go, and he would not. All I kept thinking about that's the whole about hunting interaction with him. Learn next time you're that much smarter. I ran towards, but I thought he was going to come down this other trail and walk right into me, give me a perfect broadside shot. That didn't happen, and he just hung up 20 yards away, and it got to a point where, there's nothing I could do. It was black at that point, and I just kicked my muck boot on the ground, and that bull just barked and spun and got out of there. So, I mean, you learn from that, just replay that. And,
well, what would you been different in that situation? I feel like that's just a tough one.
So I should have went after him, and knowing that country. So I just started hunting that area. That was this year. Knowing what I know now, he was in this meadow, and if I would have kind of cut in the meadow, you never know. But not, and so next time when you do get in that situation, you're that much smarter, or at least you think you are.
Yeah, it's like, what's that movie with Tom Cruise, Tomorrow Land or Tomorrow something, Edge of Tomorrow, where he just keeps reliving the same day, but every day he gets a little bit further because then he learns new, and then he has to reset. He gets killed and he resets at the stage one all over, and he just keeps going. And then the next one he gets a little bit further, but he has to take that learning and go back, and that just keeps happening and happening until he finally gets to the end of whatever this thing is, this alien race they're trying to defeat. It's a really interesting movie. It's a little bit Groundhog's Day-esque, but
yeah, right.
I'd say Groundhog's Day, but
but he's like learning.
You're the next generation.
You can only get so far,
old,
every day, and that's it's like, oh well, yeah, I would have done this different. So you do that different, then the next hunt you get the following year, you make a whole new mistake at the next level. You're like, shit, now I got to wait another year.
Well, that's it.
I was smarter, but like, I'm gonna mess them. So I told Greg last year I had 150 within range, and I couldn't even drop back on him because he busted me. And I'm like, well, I would have done this different, but then I'm sure I would have discovered a new thing to fuck up.
Exactly.
It's just you think you got to
pulled back, and your arrow would have fallen off the rest.
Yeah.
Something that you could have not planned for whatsoever.
Yeah. And that's it's a frustrating component of hunting, but it's also a humbling one and a good one.
That's true, because then when it all comes together, I mean, you are a superhero. because
about
everything
5
happened right, and everything happened right, and you're standing over this bull or deer or whatever, and there's nothing like it. That's why we do it.
I've often said that's either the dumbest deer in the woods or I'm a really good hunter. Like, I don't really know. You know,
You're just like us, where we have small windows of opportunity or miss opportunity, where we look very smart or really stupid.
yeah.
Yeah.
They got to get it right a lot more than we do. That's for sure.
They're a living creature.
They
That's
got to
what
get
they
it right
do.
every day to survive, and we got to get it right the one time when they get it wrong, kind of thing.
Right.
So
You got it.
well, good episode. Thanks for hanging with us. It's good to meet you. You know,
You guys too.
we appreciate your time.
We appreciate you.
Yeah. And can you just you have a few different channels and pages. Can you rattle those off real quick? We had someone in the comments, Field of Food, ask what your YouTube channel is. We shared the link in there, but for everybody listening, where do they go find all the stuff that you got going on?
So look up Fish Camp, YouTube Fish Camp. Just punch in Fish Camp. We've we've got a lot of great muskie, deer hunting, elk hunting. I mean, it's can't get enough of it. So, in our Instagram, Fish Camp Creative, that's also our website. And, me personally, Jody.Marler. And then my home building side, I think a lot of people in the Northwoods can appreciate the homes we build, Fish Camp Custom. So, we love what we do, whatever it is, whether it's hunting, fishing, or building homes. So, yeah.
I just saw a post of the average home price in America broken down by state. Montana,
I just saw it too.
Some of the most expensive. What's the going rate for a custom home in Montana? It's got to be like north of $1 million, right?
We're gonna need more people's salary from here to figure that one out, buddy.
It's got to be a lot.
Everything has changed since COVID. So, it doesn't matter where, it's all changed. I mean, we just had a lot at the end of our drive. It's under contract for $800,000 for a lot. So that is crazy.
Just shy of $1 million. And, some of these houses that I was working in were anywhere from half to $1 million. It was ridiculous.
Well, just I mean, this is a whole different topic. You got to start a home building podcast. Apparently, we know some folks here in Wisconsin that have some home building podcasts. I'm pretty connected in the business community here. And Bellman Homes, David Bellman's a pal.
I used to work
he's got
for
a
them.
podcast. Oh, okay, so he's got a good podcast about home building, and he's an authority on the topic, and great guy. But the house that I live in, the value has doubled, and I've done not much to this house. It just other than living here, and I bought it at the time.
Same here.
And I never would have thought I'd own a home of this value. It's just the way the market and the world has changed, and I can't believe that this is the house we like. I wouldn't think this home is worth the value that it is. I can't believe it. I'm like, wow. I feel like in a fast rewind 20 years.
What's interesting is that you would putting that money into, so unless you left that part of the state or something. Yeah. So it's interesting. And the houses we're building, they're like ultra custom. I mean, we're cabinet makers. We design, we do it all. It's awesome.
You're a design build.
Yeah. We work with a lot of different architects as well, but we have in-house designers, and this is what I've been doing forever. So it's awesome. It's a pretty good life. And like I said, I'm actually heading to Minnesota to musky fish a couple days. Then I'm going to be in Wisconsin a couple days, and then up at my camp in the UP for a few days. So,
well, somewhere in there, if you get an opportunity, Greg, you guys should connect to have.
Yeah, I'm already sending you a message via Instagram.
Nice.
So
for the OKS Fisher podcast, because muskie's all that Matt can think about right now. So.
Yeah, Matt's a muskie fishing fool. I used to be into my 20s, and then I just decided I didn't have time. I needed to make money, so
yeah,
I did.
It is so addicting. I mean, like we talked about earlier, though, for me, since we don't have muskies, there are a couple of places that have muskies, but when I think of muskies, I think of the Northwoods, and there's just a whole state of mind about the Northwoods, especially come fall for me. So
Especially come fall. That is the key point to make there.
Yeah,
Yep.
come fall, it's whitetail bucks here and muskie.
yeah,
And duck hunting is another thing,
yep, and grouse hunting
You
and
always said it once, you bet your sweet ass I'd be there.
yeah,
Because it's just nice to experience all of it.
Yeah.
all of it. Yep. And it's the wood smoke, it's the people, I just can't get enough of it. I was hoping it'd be a little more fall-like with the weather, but it is what it is. And I've had weeks, because we've been going out the same week for forever.
Man,
And sometimes we've hit it where lakes are turned over and it is lights out. I mean, multiple 50s in Minnesota, and then make our way to the UP, and same thing. We're catching really good fish. And but these last 2 years, it's been brutal. It's just kind of mild weather, and so we'll take it though.
yeah.
Make the best of it.
Well, we'll chat after this.
Yeah, sounds good. Definitely
right.
stay in touch.
Thanks everybody for tuning in live. As you all know, this is produced the same night we record, so I will get to work. And by the way, I also produce, and Tyler, my business partner on the whole endeavor, we produce 12 shows on the network. So
you're not proud of that or anything, are you?
Tuesday nights are a really busy night because I produce a bunch of shows, not just this one. So I start with this one because it's likely to download the MP4 and all that. But then we get on to OK's Trapper and Boyer and OK's Fisher and Upduck. And there's a lot to listen to in the outdoors. So we're talking about fishing and duck hunting and deer hunting. And we have it all on the OK's Podcast Network. If you're wondering,
in there, OK's Cooked, don't forget them.
OK's Cooked, to cook it all up. I mean, we have it all. We have a gun one coming to market here very soon.
You are a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. And I'm enthused about that one too. The name, I'm very proud of. It took us a lot of back and forth to land there. So.
Just look at this though. It started our two dumbasses 2 floors up from here.
Yes.
To now in the basement. I don't know if that's a promotion or a promotion, but hey, we have a little place to. Oh yeah, we got 12 shows, 13, might be 14. We don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see what the future brings, but it's pretty awesome. We got great people that really
super great people.
They're awesome.
Everyone is
awesome.
Is just. We got people helping out with humanitarian efforts, boots on the ground right now in North Carolina. On our network.
I wish I had the ability to go down there and not have to worry about paying my bills.
Yep.
Go down there and help, because I would.
Same.
In a heartbeat.
I feel sad that I can't. Although one of them lives in the general vicinity, so
he's a good dude.
He's a very great guy. That's Matthew
Morris
with the Boyer podcast. But everybody on that network is doing very cool, interesting, fun, exciting, and enthusiastic things within the network. So be sure to go to okscenter.com. You can go to our OK's Podcast Network page, and you'll see all the shows on the network right there. So if you want to pick your poison, you certainly can. But if you listen on Spotify or iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, typically it'll recommend one on our network before it recommends one out of our network when you're listening to one of our shows. So
one other podcast we should mention.
Which one?
Dropping Pins.
Well, that's definitely one of them.
I mean,
that thing is a rocket ship.
That thing is doing great.
So
and
Derek,
the man who is not here, Derek, he's got a life just like the rest of us do. So he's not here tonight, but doing a phenomenal job there.
He's banging it up over there. Dropping Pins is a story-based podcast where Derek is interviewing known and unknown-ish whitetail killers, if you will, and extracting stories from them where they get their aha and gotcha moments as to when things started
where
to
the lights
click.
went on.
What was the light bulb moment when you started to think about, oh, I did this and I started killing big deer. I did that and I started killing big deer. So
something we have yet to figure out.
Correct. I'm close. I haven't. There's the quintessential moment.
You're getting there, man. I'm enjoying your journey. I'm enjoying walking from the sidelines, going, "Yep, you're doing good."
Yeah, we're so freaking close to figuring it out. But it's all good. Everyone's on a different path and a journey. And the OKS Hunter podcast is a very generalist show. We tend to have, like I said, more BS than hunting, which someone commented on the OKS Hunter show, that one of the episodes, they said, this is more BS than hunting. I'm like, I mean, it's pretty on brand, buddy. You got it. You nailed it on the head.
I mean, if you want to watch people kill deer, not us.
It's not us.
It's not us.
We're here for a good time.
Yeah.
So, but if you are trying to level up and learn more, that's why we did this, is to offer that, because we did get a lot of inquiry about like, hey, I'm trying to really hone in on this. And we thought this is a very different approach.
Yeah.
And who better to do it than Derek?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's already having all this conversation with all those guys.
And he's great. So he is a teacher by trade and knows what he's doing. So
good stuff. So that's it. Yeah. Stay tuned. There's more coming. I think I have 2 to 3 more on deck, and I'm just trying to figure out how I can get to them all with everything we have on our plates. So cheers to having a good hunting season. All right.